Hello. It is me, Maylin. So today's not like a kind of music video or cover or whatever, but I wanted to talk about my Berklee College of Music audition and interview. So my experience and advice I have. So recently I posted this video to my TikTok, and so yeah, I've committed to Berklee and I'm going there for fall 2026. I've gotten a lot of DMs asking me questions about my audition for Berklee, and I just thought I'd make a video since I think it might be helpful. So let me explain this in chronological order. Basically, how I heard back so early was because I did the 5-week summer program called Aspire. And if you were a student going into your senior year, you had the opportunity to audition during the summer with no application fee. Luckily, I had done my application early, unlike many other students, and a lot of my friends were stressing over filling out the application and essay and submitted it last minute. So here's my first piece of advice: don't procrastinate. Plan ahead and get things done as soon as possible because it makes things so much easier for you down the road. That's what I did, and now I have one committed to a college of my choice. The college was my top school. I didn't have to pay any application fees, and I didn't have to apply anywhere else. Anyways, once you submit your application online through the Berklee website, which I will link in the description, they will email you with a time slot for your audition and interview. And mine was around 9:30 a.m. July 26th. I don't know how early, like, for other people it was. I mean, mine was like early because, like, I was at the program, so like it was just like a 10-minute walk away from my dorm, but like I imagine maybe if like you're from somewhere else it won't be so early, but I don't know. So let's talk about the audition. I had woken up early that morning, like 6:30 a.m. to warm up. Woken up early that morning, like 6:30 a.m. to warm up a lot because I have to be belting at 9:30 in the morning. So I woke up early and locked myself in a practice room for like 2 hours. Also, I had picked out an outfit the day before. I wanted to wear something not too fancy, but something cute, something that felt like me, something that looked like, yes, I put in effort into this outfit because I'm going to put effort into this audition. So while I was warming up, I was focusing mainly on my voice, but I had also played my prepared piece a bunch, and I think warming up before your actual warm-up slot was a really good decision in my opinion because my actual warm-up time is only 15 minutes. So basically, I went to the David Friend Recital Hall, which is a part of the Berklee campus, and there were a bunch of other kids waiting. So you check in with someone at the front, usually a Berklee student, and they tell you to sit somewhere. You'll see a screen with your name on it and stuff, and it's basically the queue. I forget exactly how it worked, but students were there working and just helping people find their spots. And everyone was really nice, and something a student told me that I really appreciated was that they're actually rooting for you on the other side. Which means that when you get into that audition room, the people watching you are really rooting for you to get in. The kids sitting next to you in the queue are typically just as nervous or even more so. And you're just kind of all in it together. So once it's your turn, your name is announced on the microphone, and someone, usually a Berklee student, comes to get you and then will escort you to a small practice or ensemble room. So you get a warm-up slot before your audition and you have 15 minutes alone. You can use this time however you want, but use it wisely. As I said before, I had already warmed up, so I used most of the time to just calm my nerves. And I did a lot of breathing exercises like box breathing, self-affirmations like I'm safe, I got this. I did grounding exercises like naming 5 things I see, 4 things I hear, 3 things I feel, whatever. And if it helps, you could also try to call someone you trust beforehand for like some kind of pep talk. I've heard of people calling their mentors like private teachers, band directors, their parents, whatever. So after doing all this, I felt really confident and prepared and properly warmed up. When your 15 minutes are up, the same student who escorted you will knock on the door and then bring you to your audition room. So there are 4 tasks you are asked to do in the audition. So I auditioned on voice because I feel that is my most advanced instrument and what I am most confident about. There is a prepared piece, a sight reading, an ear training, and then improvisation. And a good tip someone gave me is to come in there confidently, but not arrogantly. Just kind of be like, hey, my name is so-and-so, it's nice to meet you, but don't be like, hey, but also don't be like, hey, I'm sure you know me already, my name is blah 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 blah, and you're gonna want me really bad. Like, just be nice, you know? The auditioners don't have all the time in the world, so you don't want to drag it, but you also don't want to rush, you know? So they will probably ask you where you're from, your instrument, your prepared piece, and like if you do any kind of music already, like bands, chorus, clubs, whatever. You have about a 5-minute time limit, so you could pick 1 song or 2 short ones or whatever fits. So I sang an original called Cry Baby. I actually have it uploaded to my YouTube. And I cut White Ferrari by Frank Ocean in half in order to fit the time limit. So I accompanied myself on acoustic guitar for these songs because I feel like that's what sounds best and it's what I'm most confident in. But you could also have a friend, a teacher, or a professional come and accompany you. So some people say that they'll play along with a track or sing along. But personally, I think it's a better look to bring in a live musician. So do that if you can, but if you can't, that's fine too. So I picked these 2 songs because I know them by heart and I have fun playing them. And they're not too advanced, but they're not too easy for me either. I think the songs showcase my strengths and my vocal range well. Crybaby is a bit more like of an alternative indie rock song, I feel like, which is mainly my favorite style of music. And there's a lot of belty parts, which I feel like I can do really well, and it's an original, so I can show that I'm a songwriter, and it shows Berklee what I can do, what I like to do, and what I'm good at. So White Ferrari is a bit more on the chill side, but I kind of twisted it into my version. I make the guitar parts more fun by like incorporating strumming and finger picking styles, and the way I sing it also shows my higher and my lower range, and it demonstrates my versatility and skill as well. So when picking a prepared piece, the most important things are to make sure that they fit the 5-minute time limit, show what you can do, show what you're good at, show what you like, and give Berklee an idea of the kind of musician you are and what you bring to the table. Make sure it's something that feels true to you. So for my prepared piece, Berklee isn't going to look at me and say, oh yeah, she's a really good metal vocalist, or she's really into musical theater, which is good because that's not what I am. Like, I know some people say like Berklee's a jazz school, so I'm just going to go in there and play jazz standard, but do something that feels true to you, because like, you know, everybody is a little bit different, and you don't, especially in art and music, you don't want a bunch of like carbon copy and paste of the same musician. And you want to make sure that you're practicing these pieces a lot. You want to make sure like you have them memorized, they are ingrained into your heart, into your soul. You want to know them so well that if at any moment someone asked you to just play them, you would have them memorized. You would play them memorized passionately, with feeling, and confidently. And I recommend playing maybe your favorite song, like your go-to karaoke song, or something you know already and have performed at least a few times or once. If you don't already know these songs or haven't performed them before, practice vigorously at least like 2 to 3 weeks before your audition. In my case, I had already played these songs a bunch and performed them for other people, so I felt confident in them. Now, the sight reading. This is the part that everybody gets really nervous and scared about. So I feel really grateful because I do so much chorus. I'm used to sight singing a lot and looking at sheet music and like trying to figure out how to sing it. And I also was at 5 weeks, so I was in some classes that already just required you to sight read a lot. And I've also practiced with sites like Sight Reading Factory, so do that in your own time if you can. So get familiar with what you don't know, I'd say. Memorize intervals, singers, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Solfege is so important and so useful. I'd say also practice weird rhythms you're not used to. Like, if you're scared of triplets, you need to work on triplets so you're not scared of triplets anymore. If you're scared of like what a swing beat sounds like. Start working on the swing beat. And the auditioners will have you read some short pieces of music. For me, it was melodies of like 8 measures, and I noticed that if you do well on one piece, they will turn the page and slowly increase the difficulty until they notice you start to struggle a lot. And something I was surprised by was that the auditioner was actually pretty patient, and they had helped me a tiny bit, but not a lot. Like, if I missed a note, they might have said, oh, by the way, it's this, not that. So that surprised me because I'm used to choral blind auditions where you're not even supposed to talk to the adjudicator. You only get one chance to look over a piece for like 30 seconds and then sing it one time through. Even if you make a mistake, you cannot start over. But this was not the case at all. So it was like pleasantly surprising. Another thing they did was ask me to identify the key signature of each piece. And if you don't already know, an easy cheat code to those, it's for flat keys, the second to last flat is the name of the key. And for sharp keys, you want to go a semitone up, a half step from the last flat, and that will be the name of the key. So it was pretty chill. I kept a steady beat. You want to keep a steady beat like with your foot or you're clapping your hands or whatever. I look over the piece for maybe 30 seconds to a minute before attempting to sing it. I think you should sing in solfege. That's what I did, but I'm not sure if it really matters. I'd say keep like a slow beat like this instead of like. For the ear training, I thought they'd do more stuff with me, but they didn't. I don't know, maybe they were like running low on time. Like, basically, for me, they had, they sang like a melody. I was nervous because, it was like kind of like a bit longer of a melody, and it's like I can only remember so much at a time, but like they'd be like, all right, I'm gonna sing a melody and then you sing it back, or I'm gonna clap a beat, clap a rhythm, and then you clap it back. And then that was really what they did for me. I kind of expected them to like, play some chords and be like, this is major, minor, diminished or augmented, minor or major seventh, like blah 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 blah, and I prepared for that, but for some reason they didn't do it with me. But from other people said that that's what happened to them, so I just prepare anyways. So there's a lot of good YouTube videos on this, which I can actually link in the description. And then also they would start gradually increasing the difficulty bit by bit, like in the sight reading. So it would go from like a rhythm like to a rhythm like something like that. I really can't say much on this because, again, for some reason I wasn't really given much to work with, but the things that I did to prepare were doing ear training exercises online, like through an app I use called Earpeggio, and I worked on the things that I needed to strengthen or improve. So, the improvisation. This is another thing, aside from the prepared piece, that I was pretty confident about, and I feel like it's kind of like an overlooked thing. I feel like everyone's like, oh, I'm so nervous for the sight reading, but like I feel like you should also be preparing a lot for the improvisation, especially if you're not used to it. I didn't really prepare that much for it because I'm really used to improvising, but if you're not used to it, then you need to prepare. Especially as a vocalist, you better start now. You can start by listening to backing tracks on YouTube and trying to sing over them. Maybe asking a friend to like play some like progressions on the guitar or piano and have you try to like sing over them. For me, the auditioners sat down at the piano and started playing a chord progression. It was a bit more complicated than I expected. There was a lot of different chords in it. It was kind of like a jazzy R&B vibe, and they switched chords a lot, which kept me on my toes, but I was able to adjust pretty smoothly. So when you're doing the improvisation, you're basically showing Berklee what you can create, what you will make with other people at Berklee, like what you can come up with on the spot, and your willingness and flexibility, basically. That's how I think of it. A tip someone gave me too was to just keep improvising. Like, don't stop in the middle and like wait for them to like stop you. Like, once they've heard enough, they will stop you, but just like keep improvising, jam. Basically just jam, get into it. Imagine you're just jamming with a friend and then they'll stop you. And after this you say, thank you, goodbye. Then the student who escorted you will bring you to an area to wait for your interview. So in the interview area, you check in with someone at the desk, just like you did for your audition. They'll say like, okay, just wait 10 minutes, so-and-so is your interviewer. And the interviewer is almost always an actual Berklee student, so they'll come out and call your name, and you'll then follow them to a private room, and they might make some small talk and ask you questions. The questions are the exact same as you'd expect, and you can find them on the Berklee website. There's stuff like, why Berklee? Or like, what would you describe yourself as a musician? Or like, what will you do if you go to Berklee? Like, what kind of things do you want to do? So I'd say it's good to think about how to answer these beforehand, and something I wish I did was I wish I had rehearsed this or acted out the interview with someone so I could answer at the top of my head. I had wrote down my answers on my phone, but my interviewer said I couldn't have my phone out, so I was like, and I feel like almost everyone has a really good experience in the interview, but honestly, mine felt kind of rushed. We only had like 10 to 15 minutes to talk, and I was struggling with not trying to yap too much, but also to include important details in my answers. And so it wasn't bad, but I feel like it could have gone better, but it doesn't really matter anymore because I got in anyways. So when the interviewer finishes with the questions, they will probably ask if you have any questions for them. So if you have any, remember to ask them. I feel like it would be kind of a bad look if you just spent that time talking about yourself and then they say, do you have any questions for me? And you're like, nope, bye. I feel like maybe you should prepare maybe something or two. So I asked about what dorming was like for first semester students. So that's the audition and interview piece, but I want to talk about scholarships as well. There are different levels of scholarships. So when you audition, you are basically, you're automatically considered for scholarships. And most people I've heard from have gotten a few $1,000s to $25,000 per year. And the scholarship does renew yearly, but that also means that you need to maintain good grades and just don't get into any illegal stuff, you know? Like, some kids did get full tuition, but this is rare, and don't feel bad if you don't get it. I noticed that the kids that did get full tuition, however, usually played like very uncommon instruments like the mandolin or soprano saxophone or the harp. But that doesn't mean like go and audition on like a rare instrument because you have a better chance of getting in and getting a scholarship. Like, audition on what you are most confident on. I auditioned on vocals, which is like pretty much like the most common principal instrument at Berklee, but I got in and I got a good scholarship. So I also noticed that the kids that got full tuition usually had been playing at some professional level for a while. Maybe they've played since they were like a toddler, maybe their parents are musicians too, and they've gone on to talent shows and gone on TV, probably already have like industry connections, or maybe they've already done some touring. And a lot of these kids, some of these kids also are from like not very like popular countries that you'd see at Berklee. Like, you know, you might see a lot of like students that are American at Berklee, but actually no, there's a lot of international students. But like, I think a good example of this is Leve. She got a full ride to Berklee. She's been a classically trained musician since she was like a toddler. Her parents are also musicians, I believe. And she was on Iceland's Got Talent as a teenager and was playing in the Icelandic Philharmonic Orchestra. She's also from Iceland, which has a population that's less that of Boston. So aside from the goal of getting into Berklee, your other goal should be to get a good scholarship. So I think the more prepared you are, the better your scholarship money will be. And trust me, you want that as much as possible because Berklee is expensive. Anyways, that was just my experience with the audition and interview at Berklee, and I hope this video was helpful. I'll try to put some important things in the description, like YouTube videos and links to the Berklee website, so make sure to check it out below. I'd say the key takeaways from this video are: prepare as much as possible and don't procrastinate. Be true to yourself and remember that you are basically taking this time to show Berklee who you are as a person and musician and what you can bring to Berklee. Be confident but not arrogant. Be polite but not too humble. Try to put yourself in like the auditioners or interviewers' shoes and think about what they might want to hear or see from you, like what attitude you have. And 4, work most on what you don't know. Concepts you're unfamiliar with, push yourself to become familiar with them. You want to become a better musician. That was a lot of talking. Okay, bye.